Okay, so we're diving into Careerist's QA Engineering Bootcamp today. Their website is like our treasure map. We're going to be checking out the courses, the instructors, all that good stuff. See if this bootcamp is really worth it.
It's interesting. They really focus on people who are maybe a little unsure about their careers, like they know you're thinking about making a change.
Yeah.
And they're offering a pretty sweet deal. Become a QA engineer, even if you've never coded before.
Yeah.
They even have that money-back guarantee, which is a big deal.
Right. And they throw out that potential salary of $113,000.
Yeah.
But that's got to be for like the superstars, right?
Yeah. You got to be careful with those big numbers. When they say average alumni salary, it's a little misleading. Think about it. Where do those alumni live? What kind of companies do they work for? Even their negotiation skills play a part. It's like saying the average temperature on Earth is fine. Technically true, but you wouldn't want to end up in the desert unprepared, right?
That's the point.
Well,
Okay, so maybe those salary numbers are a bit optimistic, but what about the actual program? What are they teaching in this bootcamp?
they seem to cover a lot. From the software development lifecycle, which is basically how a software idea becomes a real product, all the way to testing mobile apps. They even have stuff on automation with tools like Selenium and Playwright.
Selenium, Playwright. Those sound kind of intimidating. What do they even do?
Imagine writing instructions that automatically test a website or an app. That's basically what Selenium and Playwright do, like robot assistants for QA engineers that help find bugs faster. So it's a good thing Careerist includes them, even if it's just an introduction.
And to teach all this, they've got some pretty big names on board. Their instructors are from places like Google, Facebook, Apple. It's a who's who of the tech world.
It makes sense. Seeing those names gives them credibility. It shows they've got people with real-world experience, not just some textbook knowledge. But you have to remember, everyone learns differently. What works for one person might not work for another.
They do try to answer some common questions, though. They have a whole FAQ section. Do I need to know how to code? Will this fit into my life? Is the internship paid? Those practical things you think about before making a big change.
And that internship thing is interesting. It's unpaid, which could be a problem for some people, but they spin it as a positive. You get experience, potential references, even stuff for your LinkedIn profile.
It's like they're saying, hey, we know it's unpaid, but look at all these other benefits.
Exactly.
So they've got the fancy website, the impressive instructors, and the promise of a high-paying job. But we can't forget about the job market itself.
Exactly. It's like, imagine learning a new language to be a translator. You wouldn't just pick any language, would you? You want to know if anyone's actually hiring for it.
Right, got to make sure there's a demand for those skills.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out the job market for QA engineers? Where do we even start?
Job boards are your best friend. Websites like Indeed, LinkedIn, even those specific ones for tech jobs, they're like the modern day classifieds.
Okay, so we're looking at job postings. But it's not just about how many there are, right? What else should we be paying attention to?
Definitely. Look at the skills they're asking for. Do they want experience with certain testing tools, programming languages, or methods? Does that match up with what Careerist is teaching? And pay attention to the experience level they want. Are these entry-level jobs, or are they looking for someone who's been doing this for a while?
That's a good point. Careerist talks a lot about getting you that first QA job. But if the market is full of experienced people, it'll be tougher to break in.
Exactly. It's like trying to get a table at a packed restaurant. You might have to wait a while or be strategic about when you go.
Okay, so we've checked the job boards. We have an idea of how many jobs there are and what skills they want. What about the salary? We talked about those big numbers being a little optimistic. How do we get a more realistic idea?
Websites like Glassdoor or salary.com can be helpful. They collect salary data from actual people working in those roles, so you get a range of what to expect based on location, experience, company size, all of that. It's like checking the price history of something you want to buy.
Right. No impulse buys when it comes to career changes. Do your research first.
Exactly. But here's something else to think about. Don't just stick to the usual websites. Think about the businesses in your area. Are there tech companies, startups, or even regular companies with a big online presence? Those could all be potential employers for QA engineers.
It's like we're becoming detectives trying to uncover clues about the local job market.
Exactly. And the more you investigate, the better prepared you'll be.
Okay, so we've looked at the bootcamp itself and even done some detective work on the job market. Feels like we're about to climb Mount QA, right? But before we plant our flag at the top, there's one more thing we need to consider.
You got it. We've been looking outward at the big picture. But the most important thing is to look inward at yourself. It's not just about whether Careerist is good or bad. It's about whether it's the right fit for you, your goals, your learning style, even how much risk you're comfortable with.
It's easy to get excited about tech careers, the salaries, the cool projects. But this is a big decision. It deserves some serious thought.
Definitely. Imagine buying the best, most expensive hiking boots ever. Sounds awesome, right? But if you don't actually like hiking, or if those boots aren't made for the trails you want to hike, they're not going to do much good.
Ouch, yeah, I can already feel the blisters forming. So how do we avoid those career blisters? What questions should we ask ourselves?
Start with the why QA engineering in the first place. What is it about this specific field that calls to you? Is it the problem solving, making sure things are high quality, or being part of a tech team?
And once you know your why, it's time for the nitty-gritty. Can you afford the boot camp, or will you need to take out loans? Will the schedule work with your life, or will it be a juggling act?
And don't forget about how you learn best. Careerist seems to be very structured with lots of hands-on projects. Do you like that, or do you prefer figuring things out on your own?
It's like finding a workout buddy. You want someone who pushes you, but not so much that you dread working out.
Exactly. And speaking of pushing yourself, what are your long-term goals? Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Do you want to specialize in one type of testing, maybe move into automation or even a leadership position? Will Careerist help you get there, or will it only take you so far?
It's like planning a road trip. You need a destination and a route, but you also have to be ready for detours and unexpected stops along the way.
Absolutely. And that's what makes all of this so exciting. Even if Careerist isn't the right fit for you right now, you've learned a lot about QA engineering, the job market, and most importantly, yourself.
It's about being informed, weighing the pros and cons, the risks and rewards, and in the end, trusting your gut.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe later on, when you have more experience or the job market changes, Careerist or another boot camp might be the perfect launch pad. But for now, you've got this. You've got the knowledge, the resources, and the self-awareness to make it in the tech world. Keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Make sure to check back in for our next episode where we'll be tackling, well, you'll just have to wait and see. Until then, happy learning.